to the final question. And the final question actually comes from a Miss Tia Lewis, and she asks a really interesting question that I think as creators that we can relate to. Hey Alex, so there's a clip floating around of Tyler Perry saying that he doesn't care that critics or he doesn't care what critics say about his content. Do you think directors should care about what people say about their content? Well, thank you, Miss Tia Lewis. Thank you for your question. I listen as a director and an actor myself, and as a content creator, just like the rest of my panel as content creators, we put out content consistently. There are going to be people who are going to love it. There are going to be people they're going to hate it. I'm doing a series called The Reality of YouTube, and in that series, we talk about and it comes out every Tuesday, by the way. But in that series, we talk about the reality of getting views and people responding to your videos. Here's the reality, you guys. People are going to hate your stuff. Like they're going to do that. It's how you respond to it. You can either look at it as a positive, like, wow, this person took the time to watch my video and talk shit about it. And like, well, at least I got a view. Or I can say, you know what? Clearly I'm doing something right because people are talking about it. So for me, and I'll refer to the clip. There's a clip that I don't know if it's really edited, like this is scripted or this is how he genuinely feels. But Tyler Perry was just basically saying, like, I don't give a fuck about Rotten Tomatoes. I don't give a fuck about critics. I don't give a fuck about any of this stuff solely because, like, my shows are hitting #1. You may not be a fan of what I'm doing, cool, but clearly I'm doing something right. People keep wanting the acceptance. Oh, let me get that Oscar. Put me on your show. No, why don't you go create your own and build the fan base that you have? Listen, I'm a huge fan of Collider. I'm a huge fan of John Campea. I'm not waiting for them to ask me to be on their show. Just like I'm sure they're not waiting. My co-hosts are not waiting for them to ask them to be on their show. We're going to create our own content regardless if we get that opportunity or not. And we have to understand that listen, I put out Static Shock the movie, which is still on my channel, has almost 90,000 views. A lot of great comments from it, a lot of negative comments from it too. That doesn't necessarily mean that I should stop creating content because people decide to be negative. So in my opinion, I personally don't give a fuck what people have to say about the stuff that I say, the stuff that I do, because I'm gonna keep creating it. I look at it like this. I'm doing something that you're not. You're talking about what I'm doing, so clearly I'm doing something right. I don't know. Maybe I'm looking at this wrong. Jeremy, how do you feel about Tyler Perry's video if you saw it, and what do you feel? How do you feel about creating your own content?
I agree with a lot of what you said, but Ian, do you want to take this one first, just so I don't step on your toes if you have points?
Oh yeah, sure. I'll go for it. Yeah, man. So yeah, I agree with a lot of things you said. There's, of course, I'm gonna weigh pros and cons. I want to quote Kanye West real quick. He says, "I don't take advice from people less successful than me." Which I'm not gonna say I'm above advice from anybody, but he does make a good point. Like, if you are a YouTuber that has no profile picture, no content whatsoever, and has no credentials or credibility in this world that we live in, you're just some guy hating. Then why should I give a fuck what you got to say? Yeah. If it's working for me, like Tyler Perry, I'm not a big fan of his movies. I'll be one of the first people to say a lot of his movies are not for me. Mm-hmm. But he has his own lot. He has his own studio lot. What does my opinion of what his movies are got? What he don't give a shit. Like, my opinions about what he's got going on does not matter to Tyler Perry. You know why? Because whatever he got going on works for him. Mm-hmm. And props to that. I got nothing but respect and love for what he does. And even if I'm not going to give his movies the time of day just because it doesn't have a good track record for me, I can't hate on his crap. He's got an audience. He's got people that love it. So he doesn't do it for me. He does it for them. So if you don't like it, watch something else. We have so much content right now. Mm-hmm. I literally have like a crazy watch later list that I'm probably not even going to get to watch all before I die because it's just so much coming at me. And then you got stuff every day just coming at me. Just come on. If you don't like something, there's no need to hate on it. Just move on. But at the same time, yes, I do think content creators should, to an extent, listen to their audience. I get it. I get that side too. You should listen to them just a little bit because you are doing it for them. But at the same time, you are doing it for yourself as well, because we are born with this gift, and we want to keep it going. So some people they don't see our visions, and so our final product is, and that's why I've said multiple times, never prejudge something before you see the final product of it. So yeah, I do think they should listen to it, but at the same time, don't think that they have to do what you got to say. We're not slaves for you.
Exactly, and that's such a good point. I firmly agree with everything that Ian just said. Jeremy, what's your take on all of this stuff about responding to critics and making your own content?
I think you both make excellent points, and there's a couple of different ways that I approach this kind of question, because I tend to be a little over analytical at times. Alex, you made a great point that you've put out the Static Shock fan film. It's something that you put your blood, sweat, and tears into. You put it out there into the world. You get 90,000 views. You get the good, you get the bad. In my experience, 10 good does not outweigh one bad. And I think that's one thing that, as an artist, that's something that we all struggle with. We all need to have thick skin, but when you hold these things close to you and you have a personal connection to them, it can be difficult. You said something that I feel it's easy to get caught up in the emotional aspect of it, but what's a little more challenging is to separate yourself and say, yeah, this person did watch my 15-minute video. And they did make criticisms. Some of them may not sync up with what I believe that they should have said, but does that mean that there's not value in listening to that criticism and trying to process it and trying to grow from it? I mean, I'm not in a place personally where I feel like everything I put out is solid gold. I can still grow, you know what I mean? So I'm not opposed to that. As far as Tyler Perry goes, I mean, Ian, you said it. He has, not only does he have a studio lot, he has the biggest studio lot in the world. Tyler Perry's studio in Atlanta, or right outside Atlanta, is the biggest studio, independently owned, period. It's the biggest studio in the world. So, like, who's anybody to really, critique what it is he does? Once you do get to that level of celebrity, it breeds resentment. How many people out there that don't have what Tyler Perry has are going to be like, screw that guy? I mean, it's just natural human reaction, because we look to people that are, so elevated above us, and we tend to want to tear them down to kind of bring them to our level so we can feel a little bit better about ourselves. But I feel like Tyler Perry is, he's one of a kind. I'm not a fan of his movies, but with that said, I've not really given him a fair shake. I don't like the Madea character, and that's about as much as I can speak about Tyler Perry, other than that he was really good in Gone Girl. Now, I want to ask you guys a question, and this is something that I can't really speak to, but do you think that there's a fine line between putting out content or movies for a specific audience, i.e. the black audience, and just knowing that you're going to get those dollars from those people no matter how good your movie is? So by saying, I don't care if my movies are good or not because black people are going to see them anyways, is that a little bit reductive, or do you feel like that's all on the up and up?
Ian, I'm gonna let you take that one. I'm gonna go after you, but I'm gonna let you take that one.
Dude, that's a deep question, man. Because that's a whole different subject. I like that question, actually. So what you're pretty much saying is, if it's not great quality, but there's a audience for it, like, who cares? So he's just gonna do what he does because he knows he's gonna get that check at the end of the day. I am against that 100%. I am against that because I'm not saying that's what Tyler Perry does. I don't know, because it seems like he genuinely, passionately created these characters and he likes that. So, but I'm not gonna say that there's not people that do that. So I don't know. It seems like that might be a thing. There's audiences for everybody that eat up that shit. So as a content creator, no. Oh, that especially from the content creator, that would make me go crazy. Just to pull out the factory, the assembly line of the same bullshit every time. I would go nuts. I don't care how much money I would make. It would make me go crazy. I'm not for that. And
just to recontextualize, and then we'll pass to you, Alex, but just to kind of recontextualize, if you use words like owned or this person gets, like there's that certain audience, core audience for anything. If it's outrage culture, every time you put out one of those videos, somebody's going to respond to it because you're speaking to this group of people. So it doesn't have to be about Tyler Perry, because I'm not saying Tyler Perry does that. Oh, yeah. Is that like, how do you feel about that, Alex?
So I think that as a wait, I'm sorry, I switched cameras. So I think though, as a creator, right? You want to make things that cater to your audience. I personally, speaking for myself, I know that my audience is comprised of obviously black people who are blurs. I have an audience of just people who love pop culture and just nostalgia comic book things. That's pretty much the reason why I have shows like Ask Alex, I have Hero TV, and all the other different things that I'm doing on my channel. With that being said, though, you cannot, in my opinion, I don't believe you should only pander to that audience, if that makes sense. Like, you'll never grow. And see, the thing I can say about Tyler Perry is that he's speaking from and again, I've seen his Madea movies and I've seen some of his other stuff. I'm not a huge fan of Tyler Perry, but I respect the brother as a creator and as a businessman. But he's created content for a lot of black people who relate to the Madea character and all of the other stuff that he's put out. With that being said, he's reached a section of people that we didn't know, in my opinion, that I didn't know exist. And that's where I kind of want to go with my content. I want to reach everybody that I can, not just a small group of people. Case in point, nobody thought that Black Panther would do literally a $250 million opening weekend. Or I'm sorry, $200 million opening weekend. Nobody thought that. And it reached an audience of black people that they didn't know were out there. That's the thing. So for me, that's where I kind of want to reach in terms of audience. I think like what Ian said, you don't want to make things solely for money. And I think in Tyler's Perry case, there's an argument to be made that some of the things that could be solely for money, there's an argument to be made that this is solely how he feels and this is how he envisions his content. At the end of the day, I'm not sure. What I can say is, though, I think it's very dangerous to pander to your audience, the same exact audience, and not growing. Prime example, Marvel. Marvel's a good example. Marvel, most of their lead characters have been white. But recently, we have Black Panther. We have now Captain Marvel. We're now getting Falcon and the Winter Soldier. We're getting WandaVision. Like, they're diversing Marvel a little bit. Like, we're getting Shang-Chi, like Ian just mentioned. So I think if you reach outside of the quote unquote typical general dollar, I guarantee you your audience will be, like, prime example, old people are watching Marvel movies. Who would have thought? Like, I would never. Like old people are watching Marvel movies, so we have to keep that in mind. That's actually a really, really dope question that you put out. But what do you guys think about that? Like everything that we just said, Jeremy.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, I agree. I think that both of you guys kind of touched on what I was wanting to hear from it. Is that, like, from a creator's standpoint, you don't want to pander. It's not fulfilling to do that. I would imagine that Tyler Perry would be doing what he was doing regardless if people all 100% agree with it or not. And I wonder about that. I think that it's a question that probably people have inner conflict about. I wouldn't be surprised if Tyler Perry has pondered those same questions himself. I guess in my experience, I can tie it to certain other YouTube content creators where they will key into something that resonates with a certain group of people. And they'll be like, wow, when I did that thing, people seem to really respond to it. So regardless of my convictions, if I keep doing that same thing, if I kind of push myself and pivot in that direction, people will continue to come. And then you've compromised who you are as an artist,
Yes.
Now, does that necessarily mean you've compromised who you are as a business person? I don't know. I mean, that's a whole different question. And I respect the hustle. Like, whatever the hustle is, I respect it. Like, I know the kind of work that it would take to build an empire like Tyler Perry Studios. So, yeah, I'm not doing anything to diminish his accomplishments. It's just something that I kind of have to wonder out loud sometimes as a content creator myself. But I think you guys brought really good insight to it.
Yeah. And you know what? That's actually dope, man. And yeah, like as you guys who are watching this and you're content creators, it's okay to receive criticism and learn from it. Obviously, the jackasses of the world who say things like F you and this is stupid. I mean, obviously don't listen to those people, but it's okay to receive constructive criticism. However, it's how you respond to it and how you build from it. Like you, as an artist, I can tell you when I put out Static Shock, the first Static Shock movie, like Jeremy said, I can have 10 likes, 1 dislike. Sometimes that 10 likes doesn't outweigh that 1 dislike. But I have to realize as I've grown, because I didn't always have this, as I've grown, I'm like, okay, 10 people clearly like this video. Should I really worry about the 1 person who doesn't? It's not, again, you can take constructive criticism, but I wouldn't worry about all the negativity that comes with people shitting on stuff just to shit on stuff. So that's just me. But what do you guys think? I would love to hear you guys' opinion. Jump into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts.